Good afternoon, everyone. We're glad to have you here on the campus, beautiful campus of Winston-Salem State University, on the field house at Bowman Gray Stadium. This must be something special going on. I see cameras here, and you're in the right place. We're here today. I'm here with the mayor to make a very special announcement about something I think that's amazing that's happening as a partnership between the city and Winston-Salem State University and also our racing community as well. As you may know, for the past 5 years, we've been pursuing ownership of Bowman Gray. Pursuing ownership of Bowman Gray takes on a lot of different components, and many of those components we've run into several snags along the way, and it's been very difficult, very challenging, kind of getting it through the system to be able to purchase Bowman Gray. In the meantime, we've been having conversations with the city, and we have come up with an alternate path to ownership for Winston-Salem State, one that creates a true partnership between Winston-Salem State and the city, one that speaks to how this city sees Winston-Salem State. And it gives us an opportunity to do something special and create a true fan experience here at WSSU and Bowman Gray Stadium. You see, we've been pursuing this and we've been thinking about ownership. But then, as the conversations have unfolded, the city now is going to invest $9 million in making Bowman Gray fan-friendly, fan-ready, and creating a great experience for our alumni, our students, and everyone that comes to Bowman Gray. And we talked about this, and I shared with the mayor a few minutes ago. It's not often that you can come together and collaborate and have a win-win situation. But I think that this is a win-win-win. This is a win for Winston-Salem State, it's a win for the city, and it's a win for racing, because we get almost a new upfit stadium, more fan-friendly. And you hear more about the kinds of investment that the city is making in Bowman Gray to create a wonderful, true experience for all the citizens of this area. But Winston-Salem State will benefit tremendously from this. As you know, in terms of pursuing ownership for the stadium, we pursued the mechanism of charging students for that. And so student fees have been collecting to pursue ownership. We no longer have to do that. We can take those monies and repurpose those monies on our campus to create a better experience for all of our students. And so I'm excited to be here with you today, and Mr. Mayor, to make this announcement to the community and talk about what a great venture this partnership has become. And Ben will come a little bit later and give you a little bit more particulars about what we will do with Bowman Gray. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Chancellor Robinson, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm delighted to be here today, joined by a number of my colleagues, Councilmember Taylor, Councilmember Adams, Councilmember Larson, and Councilmember-elect Scipio, as well as our representative, former Councilmember Derwin Montgomery, who represented the East Ward for a long time and has been instrumental in these discussions with Councilmember Taylor going forward. As the Chancellor said, we're here to celebrate, I think, a strong collaboration among Winston-Salem State, the city, Bowman Gray Racing, and the community to ensure that this is a treasure here in our city, will have a long and fruitful life in our community, serving Winston-Salem State, Bowman Gray Racing, and the community. I want to make something very, very clear going forward. This is not the city stepping back from a commitment to sell this stadium. We, the city, matter of fact, invested something over $4 million to take care of environmental issues and other issues that the state of North Carolina real estate division had said needed to be done, and we stepped up and did that as a city council and a city to take care of that. But today, as the Chancellor said, we are truly celebrating a wonderful opportunity to revitalize this stadium, to make it Ram friendly, I'm going to say, Chancellor. We'll rename the field here Rams Field at Bowman Gray Stadium, subject to the approval of the City Council, of course. And also investing $9 million, slightly over $9 million over the next 3 years to really improve this whole situation for Winston-Salem State and for Bowman Gray Racing, the fans that come to that. We are excited as a city to partner with Winston-Salem State University to help make their programs even more successful and to make our city even more successful. So we will be answering some questions a little bit later, but I think we're going to right now ask our Assistant City Manager, Ben Rao, who can provide some more specific details of the upfits that will begin probably about a year from now, and it'll be handled over about a 3-year period. So Ben, if you could go through some of the specifics on that.
Thank you, Mayor Joines. Thank you, Chancellor Robinson. Good afternoon, everyone. So I have a brief presentation I would like to provide folks about the plan, a high-level overview of the plan that will be proposed to the Mayor and City Council here in the coming weeks. Just a very quick profile about Bowman Gray Stadium. The seating capacity of the stadium is about 17,000. We do have a number of facilities and structures throughout the stadium: the 2 press boxes, the field house, our concession stands, restrooms, the ticket booths. We have 4 parking lots surrounding the stadium. And also, obviously, we have a football field and a racetrack. So what's unique about Bowman Gray Stadium is it is a multi-purpose facility and with our 2 major tenants, Winston-Salem State University and Winston-Salem Speedway, Inc. Just to give you a brief glimpse here, as far as if you look at the poster, the focus of the project that's being proposed will focus on the stadium proper, the field house, and the surrounding parking lots. And the original proposal about the sale, it had also included Civitan Park and the surrounding property, but the focus of this effort will be on the stadium itself, the field house, and the surrounding parking lots. So to get right to it, to talk about the project scope and the cost. So a number of areas we want to look at. First off, site work. And site work will include a number of things. It'll number one, look at regrading the football field. Those of you who may have ever gone down onto the field will know that if you stand on one sideline and look across, you don't see the other person's feet. So we know that there's a real need to regrade and upgrade the football field. In addition to that, we'll also be looking to make upgrades to the racetrack. That it's also nearing its end of life, and we want to make sure that there's an investment there. Also, we'll be looking at the parking lots, looking at opportunities perhaps to expand the capacity of our parking lots, in particular the east lot. Also looking at the water service of the stadium. Again, those who have attended events here, when there's been events with a lot of people, sometimes the water pressure has been a challenge, and our intent is to address that through this project. And then finally, just some other aesthetic improvements to the stadium. As Mayor Joines and Chancellor Robinson mentioned, we want to help better define Bowman Gray Stadium as the home of Rams football. And then also to improve the fan experience, both for football and for racing. And then when you look at our restroom facilities, our concession facilities, we really see this as almost a once-in-a-generation opportunity to make a real significant investment in the stadium. So we'll be looking to replace most of the restroom facilities and also to replace the concession facilities. We just feel like it's time to make that kind of investment, to make those kind of investments and changes, and so that will be part of the scope. And then looking at our ticket facilities, to look at the press boxes, to look at the seating of the main bowl, and just providing some upgrades and some needed renovations and improvements here again to really improve that fan experience for everyone. So as everybody mentioned, as the mayor and Chancellor Robinson mentioned, the cost is $9 million. That's what we're projecting. That includes both the design and the construction for this project and potential contingencies. The city's plan would be that we would finance these investments through the issuance of what are called limited obligation bonds. Those bonds really are a kind of a mortgage way of financing improvements. We've utilized that form of financing for a number of our other public assembly facilities. Basically, we pledge an asset, in this case, probably most likely Bowman Gray Stadium, as collateral to pay back that debt. In terms of schedule, there will be a unique challenge to this project because the seasons, the racing season, the football season, stretch from basically April through November, maybe into December if the Rams have a strong year. So the window of opportunity to really actually do construction work and and implement a number of these improvements will be in that November to March timeframe, which unfortunately is also one of the more challenging times of the year to do any kind of construction because of the colder weather. But that's the plan. So the idea is for this to be implemented over a 3-year period. In the coming months, the city will start its process of getting a design contract in place to start the process of design. But we really, to go through all that process, we really anticipate that we really wouldn't start work until probably 2020. So the next year plus will be invested in design, collaborating with the university, collaborating with Winston-Salem Speedway Inc. to really fine-tune the scope for this project and what types of improvements we want to implement, and then the finer details, and then really start the work in earnest in 2020. Now, because we are looking to replace facilities like the restrooms and the concession facilities, there will be a kind of a staging that will occur there. We may very well start the process of constructing the new facilities, but keep the current facilities in place so we can try to minimize the disruption to fans. But then once those new facilities are ready to go online, we would then look to demolish the existing facilities, mainly the restrooms and the concession stands. So you can see there kind of here again the rough outline of what we think we might accomplish over the next 3 years. There may be some elements of this project that we may try to accomplish even sooner than that. Something like, for example, Wi-Fi, an upgrade to the Wi-Fi for the facility. So we're in the very early stages. This is very, to me, kind of conceptual at this point, but this is the kind of the vision that we have in mind. So that's really the overview of the capital plan. I do want to say too that because we are moving in this alternate path, the city going forward will be assuming full responsibility for operating and maintaining the facility. We've had a great partnership with the university since the time that the resolution of intent was approved. They've been a great operating partner with the facility. We're now at a point we're ready to move forward with the city resuming the operating responsibility for the stadium. And so in the coming weeks and months, I'll be bringing more items to council for approval, maintenance contracts, those types of operating details to get everything in place so that when we start the 2019 season in March, April, that the city will be ready to go to operate and maintain the stadium.
Thank you, Ben. On the Chancellor, on behalf of the City Council and myself, we are delighted to be partnering with you on this next step in Bowman Gray Stadium and Winston-Salem State football.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor and the City Council. It really speaks to the relationship that we have with the city of Winston-Salem. And I tell people every day, I'm proud to be in this city because the way in which you look at Winston-Salem State, and this speaks volumes to how you feel about this institution. And this partnership, to me, is unprecedented. And it's historic in nature, and I'm excited about it.
Wonderful. Anybody got a question? Yes, John.
The $9 million, is that all bond money, and is there an investment from Winston-Salem State as well into this project?
John, you asked where the $9 million is coming from. It will come from something we call limited obligation bonds, which is a way we can issue debt within the city, and it will be basically the city's full responsibility, assuming, again, the City Council approves everything. Got Vice Chair of the Finance Committee sitting here, so we'll.
Right.
So just to be clear, is WSSU still pursuing the purchase of Bowman Gray Stadium from the city?
No, we're not. And I should have made that statement in my remarks. But based upon this new alternative plan, we will not be pursuing ownership of the stadium.
Chancellor, what's the biggest benefit you see of this partnership with the football program in general?
I think this enhanced fan experience. I think for the university, not being straddled with having to manage the stadium and not being straddled with having to purchase the stadium, in which I said at the beginning of my remarks, we've been doing through a debt service kind of program through student fees. So we've been charging students fees to purchase that. And as we think about purchasing it, you got an 80-year-old stadium that had certainly needed a huge amount of work done to it. This alternative approach to it benefits us tremendously financially, but experientially as well.
And there was a master plan maybe looking into building a stadium on campus. Is that kind of on the back burner, obviously, now?
Well, the master plan was created before this alternative plan came into space. So we have to now, because of this, we certainly can go back to the master plan, reprioritize some things. We have a 20-year lease with this and up to 2037. So we'll be here for 20 years at least.
How did you come to this arrangement? What made you decide that this was the way to go?
Well, for me personally, I mean, I think in conversations, I think with the city council, with city council members, with the mayor, with the leaders of this city, with the business leaders of this city, talking about how we can make a bold statement about Winston-Salem State. And I said, you know, we've been here for a very long time. We've been playing football in the stadium since 1956. And think about making a commitment over that period of time. The city had not made the kinds of investments that I thought they should make with a facility that we had been in for, you know, since 1956. And so it was about having those conversations, about sitting down and really thinking about how to create a unique partnership that sent a message to all of the citizens of this area.
I think as we, as a city, work through issues that were raised by the state of North Carolina Department of Real Estate, we went through a number of hurdles, and it was still seemed to be stuck in the system, if you will. And so we felt like, when working with Councilmember Montgomery and Councilmember Taylor, we had long conversations about how we can move this ball forward in a way that ended up, as the Chancellor said, with a really win-win-win situation. And we also wanted to be extremely considerate and cognizant of the Bowman Gray racing and make sure that they were being protected in this as well.
You mentioned about naming the field Ram Field. Is there anything along those lines of you guys, whatever they name it is okay, or does that have to be approved as well since you guys are still? I mean, I was thinking of naming the field after somebody or something like that. How does that all work?
Well, you know, as Ben talked about, this is kind of a high level. We're kind of in the design phase. This is something that we can think about, but it creates tremendous opportunities. If you're talking about naming a field, then the possibilities are endless. But we have not gone down that road or had any discussions about that at this point.
Yes, sir.
One more question, and maybe this is for Ben, but with the hoping to minimize impact on all of the the games and the races, at this time, are you able to guarantee that races and games, or definitely games, will not be played at alternative locations at any point, or are you not sure if it's a possibility that any home games at some point might have to be played at an alternative location?
So the question was, what would be the potential impact on games and races? Our intent going into this project would be that the events would still be held here. There might be a lot of fencing, a lot of pardon our progress kind of signage around, but our commitment is to work very hard to make sure that we can minimize as much as we can the experience of the fans, both for football and for racing.
I know we'll get a lot of questions regarding the racetrack itself. You made some mention of some of the changes to the track. What specifically may change with the track? Might it be resurfaced or anything like that? Because that's a lot of the big concerns I'm sure we'll get with the coverage we give the racing community here as well.
So, question about the plan for the racetrack. Every year, city staff work with Winston-Salem Speedway Inc. staff on walking the track and determining where there are areas where we need to patch some cracks and that kind of thing. But we've reached a point where I think that we were concerned that because of the time that's passed, that the surface, the base of the track may be at a point where we really need to address that. And so our plan would be to mill down all the way to the base level and basically essentially rebuild the track and then resurface it. So we'll be working very closely with Winston-Salem Speedway Inc. to make sure that we do that in a way that will positively impact competition.
So essentially the surface of the track will be taken down to surface and then be built back up.
That right now in broad strokes would be our plan.
Ben, was there any talk of artificial turf, or with the racing, is that kind of out of the question because the cars kind of?
That might have been
it's
explored a little
soft,
bit, but
yeah.
I think the feeling is that we'll probably keep the field natural grass. I mean, number one, to the expense of a turf field would be something we'd have would be a challenge. But also too, we just want to, knowing the fact that it is a dual-purpose facility, we want to keep that in mind.
I did have one kind of follow-up with, when it comes to racing and football together. You know, racing season, a lot of those cars end up on this field. You're gonna resod the field and do a lot of upgrades to the field and the turf itself. When these cars get on that field and that turf, it's gonna do some damage. What's your plans to sustain that nice field once it's down from the cars themselves?
Well, the good thing is we have experience dealing with those types of situations, and so it'll be incumbent upon the city to make sure that the field is football ready. I know that our Winston-Salem Speedway Inc. partners, they do a great job of trying to manage the drivers and to, you know, remind them of the importance of staying off the field, but obviously it does happen, and so, but we will work very diligently to make sure that the field is always ready come football season.
Been doing a pretty good job for 50 years or so to
Yeah.
figure it out. Thank you all for coming. We're delighted that you came and with the Chancellor and our City Council here, and folks will be around afterwards if there's specific questions. Thank you all.
Thank you.